Imagine someone offered you a job interview with a salary of $5 million a month. What would you do? Yes, today's story goes like this. 8 candidates have come to take a test, and if they can pass, they will land a job that pays $5 million a month. That's an enormous amount. However, this is no ordinary test. This test is quite challenging. The authorities make it clear that there are certain rules, and if they are broken, the test will be immediately cancelled. Rule number 1, you are not allowed to talk to or interact with the guards or authorities here. Rule number 2, no one is allowed to ruin their exam paper. And rule number 3, no one is allowed to leave the room until they have completed the test, just to make that clear. The person asks them if there are any other problems, but no one really speaks up. The rules state that no one is allowed to talk to the authorities. If they say so, they will be expelled from the exam hall. After that, someone sets an 80-minute timer and then leaves. Their test will end as soon as those 80 minutes are up. Then everyone notices that there is nothing written on the sheet. This is an entirely blank page. But how can you write an answer without a question? At that moment, a girl confidently starts writing in her notebook, "I believe I am a suitable candidate for this job." And just then, as per the rules, her exam paper. He was disqualified from the exam hall for causing damage, which made the others quite tense. "Oh hi, the answer sheets have been distributed. Even if you write now, it will be troublesome." At that moment, a boy speaks up saying, "We were told that we are not allowed to contact the authorities, but we can talk among ourselves." So everyone here chooses a name for each other. Since their real names were not used during the entire exam, they started using different names to maintain safety. The fair-skinned boy is named White, the dark-skinned boy is named Black, the girl with golden hair is called Blonde, the girl with glasses is named Specs. There's also a boy who quietly sits in the corner. His name was given as Introvert, and in the end, there was one girl left who was not given any name. They each start doing everything they can outside the rules. Then the girl without a name says, "Maybe the question on this answer sheet won't be visible in normal light. Perhaps it requires a special kind of light to be seen." At that moment, someone notices that instead of normal lights, there are some different kinds of lights installed in their room. However, they don't know how to turn them on. So they all decided together to break every white light in the room. That's why the hidden blue lights immediately lit up. Then each of them holds their answer sheet up to the light. But even then, it doesn't help. Nothing can be seen. Then the white boy picks up the exam paper of the girl who got disqualified and starts rubbing a pencil on. The rules state that they cannot destroy their own answer sheet, but they can destroy others. Because of this, they continue to experiment on it, but it doesn't help. They tear the paper into 4 pieces and then pee on one of the pieces in a corner. They wondered if soaking it in water might reveal some hidden writing inside. However, that didn't work either. And then they all notice a fire alarm there. They believe that instead of water, a special chemical might come out of the fire alarm, and if they soak the paper in it, they will see the answer. So, the girl without a name slowly takes a gas lighter from the guard's pocket and tries to set off the fire alarm, but her hand couldn't quite reach it. So Beard comes over and takes the paper from the disqualified girl. He rolls it up and gives it to her. She lights it up and sets off the fire alarm, but here's where things get tricky. The reason is that BRD disqualified the girl. He didn't hand in the girl's sheet, but his own instead. As a result, the girl was completely disqualified from the hall. Seeing this, the black guy gets angry at her. He then charges at her saying, "I should punch your lights out," which causes all the lights to go out immediately. After this, they realize that all the lights are actually voice-controlled and will work with a command. Meanwhile, the introverted boy is sitting and crying. White approaches him and says, "If you're struggling to cope with the situation, just tear up your answer sheet. If you do that, you'll be disqualified." Hearing this, the boy follows the instruction, and now they have one fewer candidate. As the guard was forcefully escorting him away, his glasses fell to the ground unnoticed by anyone. Then Beard begins to address everyone. He suggests that there might be a company spy among them trying to divert their attention. His gaze then falls on the girl with glasses. Beard asks her, "You have tried to divert us many times so far, haven't you? Be honest, what's your connection with the company?" Initially, the girl remains silent, but eventually admits that she didn't actually come here to take the test. Instead, the company provided her with some basic information and sent her here so she could move the test forward according to their plan. So in reality, there were only 7 cadets in this exam. After the incident, since her work was finished, she intentionally tried to reach out to the authorities by stepping in front of the camera. This is likely why she was asked to leave the room. White has found the solution to this test, so he immediately starts running towards the guard. That's when Black intervenes, pushes him aside, and takes the gun from the guard's pocket to threaten White, asking him to explain what he understands. He says there are actually no questions here. Instead, the candidate who can make it to the very end will be the one who truly qualifies for this job. The others will be disqualified. Upon hearing this, Blake instantly tries to shoot White but realizes the gun isn't working. That's when he realizes the gun is equipped with the guard's fingerprint. No one else can actually fire this gun. So he somehow manages to snatch the gun from Black and then uses the guard's finger to start intimidating them even more. First, he makes Beard leave the hall. Now only Blonde, White, and Black remain for the test. White initially points a gun at Black and tells him to leave, but Black refuses. As the situation escalates, Blonde steps in himself. He decides to leave immediately. Just before stepping out, he says, "Lights out." As a result, the entire hall goes dark. And at this point, in the confusion and haste, White begins to shoot wildly without understanding what's happening. When Lighton says to turn on all the lights, it is seen that Black is lying on the ground, shot. Then Blonde has already stepped outside. Now that he is surviving on his own, as their 80 minutes come to an end, White attempts to reach out to the authorities in front of the camera. At that moment, the guard approaches and asks him to step outside because although the timer has reached 00, the test is still ongoing. Remember that introverted guy who set the clock ahead a bit under their pressure before going outside? So, there are still a few minutes left before the exam starts. And the surprising thing is that even after the lights went off, Blonde didn't completely leave. Instead, he had one foot inside the room, so officially he is still considered to be inside the room. So, only Blonde and Black were left, and surviving isn't the only way to pass the test. Blonde. There, he notices the broken glasses of that introverted guy. When he looks at his paper through the glasses, he sees question number 1 written on it. Just as the time runs out, an authority figure comes over to check his answer. When Blonde says the answer is no, he is immediately selected for the job. Now, naturally, there's a question. What kind of answer is no? So let's go back to the very beginning of the story. Once all the rules were explained, they were asked, "Is there any issue, meaning do you have any concerns?" where none of them actually responded out of fear. But now, after the test, when asked for the answer, the question was, "Do I have any issues?" The answer is no, meaning I have no problems.